Bentar, belum, belum. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Honorable Judge, respected opposition team, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nabilah Ramadhani, and I'm proud to stand here as the Prime Minister of the opening government in today's debate on the motion this House will replace traditional exams with project-based assessment. Before moving to my arguments, let us first clarify some key terms. Traditional exams refer to time-limited written tests that mostly measure how well students memorize and reproduce information under pressure. Project-based assessment, on the other hand, evaluate students through long-term tasks such as research, presentation, or practical projects that test understanding, creativity, and real-world application. As the government, our theme line is education should measure real understanding and skills, not just memorization and speed. Traditional exams focus too much on short-term memory. Students often memorize information just to pass the test, then forget it soon after. This creates what we call the study test forget cycle. In contrast, project-based assessment encourages students to learn continuously throughout the semester. They apply concepts, conduct research, and solve problems, which helps them build long-lasting understanding. For example, instead of answering multiple choice questions about the environment, students could create a recycling project for their school. That's not only more meaningful but also teach teamwork and creativity. Exams often create unhealthy pressure. A single bad day, illness, or anxiety can ruin a student's score even if they studied hard all year. This is unfair and does not represent their real abilities. Project-based assessment, however, allows students to work at their own pace. They are evaluated on their effort and environment over time, not just one on stressful day. This approach builds confidence and reduces the anxiety that comes with traditional exams. In today's world, students need more than memorization. They need creativity, collaboration, and critical thinking. Project-based learning develops exactly those skills. When students work on a project, they learn how to research, manage time, divide tasks, and present ideas, all essential for their future careers. Traditional exams isolate students, while projects teach cooperation and communication. That's why project-based assessment prepares students better for real life. To conclude, honorable judge and respected audience, traditional exams belong to an old education system that values memorization more than understanding. Project-based assessment, on the other hand, create a more holistic, fair, and meaningful learning experience. They measure not only that students know, but also what they can do with that knowledge. Therefore, with the opening government proudly support the motion that project-based assessment should replace traditional exams. Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, respected opponents, and all the audience here. My name is Desyafra Heyola, as speaker one from opening opposition. However, we reject the idea of replacing traditional exam completely. Instead, we believe that both exam and project should coexist because they serve different but equally important purpose in education. Now, let's clarify some terms. Traditional exam refer to written, oral, or practical tests conducted within a fixed time and under the same condition for all students. Meanwhile, project-based assessment are evaluation based on long-term project, teamwork, and presentation. The proposition went to eliminate traditional exam and replace them entirely with project-based one. We believe this is unfair, unrealistic, and harmful to the quality of education. Our stance is clear. We believe traditional exams should not be replaced because they remain essential for ensuring fairness, objectivity, and individual accountability. To support this sentence, it will present three main arguments. Traditional exam ensure fairness and equality. Exam trains critical thinking and discipline under pressure. Exam provide objective and efficient assessment for all students. And let me explain this point one by one. For traditional exam ensure fairness and equality, one of the main goals of education is to evaluate students fairly. Traditional exams do this better than project-based assessment because every student faces the same condition, the same time limit, the same question, and the same level of difficulty. In contrast, project-based assessment often involve teamwork and not every member contributes equally. Some students do most of the work, while others barely participate but still receive the same grade. This is not fair and does not reflect each student's true ability. Exam, on other hand, evaluate individual performance. They allow teachers to see who truly understands the material and who doesn't. That's why removing exam will actually reduce fairness in education system. Next, exam trains critical thinking and discipline under pressure. It's true that exam can be stressful, but that pressure is not entirely bad. In fact, it helps students learn how to think critically, stay focused, and manage time effectively under real life pressure. In the real world, we will face deadline, interview, and competitive situation where we must perform individually. Traditional exams simulate this environment and prepare students for this challenge. Meanwhile, project-based assessment usually happen over a long time, allowing students to rely on other or external help. That means they don't always test the student on understanding about ability or ability to think fast and clearly. So exam play an important role in building mental strength and discipline, quality that project alone cannot develop. Another key point is objective. Traditional exams are easier to grade fairly because the question and marking system are standardized. Every student work is judged by the same criteria. In project-based assessment, grading is much more subjective. Teacher might be influenced by presentation style, group dynamite, or even personal impression. As a result, some students could receive higher or lower grade based on non-academic factor. Moreover, exams are time efficient. They can be complete in 1 or 2 hours and grade quickly, while project take weeks for month to finish, requiring more supervision, material, and teacher workload. In school, with large class and limited research, replacing exam with project would be inefficient and impractical. The government might agree that projects help students develop creativity, teamwork, and problem-solving skill. We agree those skills are important, but that does mean exams should be removed. Projects should be an addition, not a replacement. Education needs a balance, exam to test knowledge and accuracy, and project to test application and creativity. Removing one completely will create unbalanced system that only benefit certain types of learner. If we remove exam and and only use project-based assessment, students like Sinta will suffer even though they have strong understanding and knowledge. One, on the other hand, students who are confident in teamwork or speaking might get better grades even if they don't fully understand the material. So to summarize my three point, traditional exam ensure fairness and equality by evaluating students individually. Exam train critical thinking, time management, and mental discipline. Exams are objective, efficient, and reliable for large-scale evaluation. Meanwhile, project-based assessment, while useful, often cause unfair grading, unequal participation, and lack of standardization. Ladies and gentlemen, education should not only focus on creativity but also on fairness, accuracy, and accountability. Traditional exams play a vital role in achieving those goals. Therefore, completely replacing exam with project would harm the balance of our education system. Instead, we should combine both methods, exam for testing knowledge and project for developing skill. Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, respected opposition team, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Listia Hermadayanti. Before I move to our new arguments, allow me to give some general response to possible concern about our motion. First, some might worry that replacing exam with projects will make assessment less objective or harder to measure. However, this concern can be solved through clear rubrics and transparent grading criteria. Teachers can evaluate specific aspects like creativity, accuracy, teamwork, and presentation, all of which can be measured systematically just like essay or research paper are graded today. Second, author might say that traditional exam ensure discipline and focus. We agree that discipline is important, but it should come from consistent effort, not from fear of time pressures. Project-based learning teach students to manage time, plan tests, and meet deadlines, which actually strengthen real discipline and responsibility. Finally, there might be arguments about practicality or research. While it's true that changing system takes effort, education shall evolve at the times. If a method better develops student potential, then it is worth the transition. The first argument is continuous learning and feedback. Traditional exams are often one-time event at the end of the term. Students rarely get a chance to reflect or improve after the test. They limit their opportunity to truly understand what they learned. Project-based assessment, however, promote continuous learning. Throughout the process, teacher can provide feedback and student can revise their work. This encourages a growth mindset that believes that ability can be developed through consistent effort. It transforms learning from a stressful event into an ongoing journey of improvement. Second argument is collaboration and social development. Traditional exam emphasize individual composition. Students are isolated and measured only by their personal result. But in the real world, success depends on teamwork, communication, and collaboration. Project-based assessment teach students these essential social skills. They learn to divide tasks, communicate ideas, negotiate difference, and work toward a shared goal. This prepares them for both higher education and professional environment where cooperation is key. Education shall not only produce intelligent individuals but also collaborative problem solvers and project-based learning as if actually did. And the last argument is relevance to real-world needs. Today, society values creativity, innovation, and problem solving more than memorization. Um, Unfortunately, traditional exam reward those who can memorize fact quickly, not those who can apply knowledge meaningful. Through project-based assessment, students can connect theory to practice. For example, instead of answering biology question, they might conduct a simple research on local ecosystem or create a presentation about sustainable living. This method not only makes learning more engaging but also more relevant to real-life challenge. It prepares students to think critically, manage projects, and communicate ideas, all skills needed in the modern world. To conclude, honorable judges and respected audience, project-based assessment helps students learn continuously, build teamwork, and develop real-world skills. They encourage reflection, creativity, and fairness, values that traditional exam fail to deliver. Therefore, we stand firm in our belief that traditional exam should be replaced with project-based assessment for a more meaningful and future-oriented education system. Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, respected opponents, and everyone here. My name is Ananda Fitria Ramadhani, and I am the second speaker of the opening opposition. Today, I will continue to stand strongly against the motion discipline and profit objective assessment as project-based assessment are still necessary because they encourage reflection, creativity, and fairness. Good afternoon, honorable judge, respected opponents, and everyone here. My name is Ananda Fitra Madani, and I am the second speaker of the opening opposition. Today, I will continue to stand strongly against the motion. This House will replace traditional exams with project-based assessments. Before I present my new points, let me briefly rebuild and extend our case. Our first speakers, Desyafra, has clearly shown that traditional exams are still essential because they ensure fairness, build discipline, and provide objective assessment. As the second speaker, I will strengthen our stance with two additional arguments and respond to some possible claims from the government side. My two main arguments are project-based assessment are not suitable for all subjects and contexts, and replacing exam will increase inequality among students. Ladies and gentlemen, education is not one size fits all. Different subjects require a different assessment methods. Let's take some examples. In mathematics, students must solve problem-solving skills under limited time that cannot be measured fairly through a group project. In language, exams are needed to test grammar, vocabulary, and comprehension. Even in science, while projects are useful for experiments, exams are still necessary to check theoretical understanding. Project-based assessment are indeed valuable for testing creativity and application, but they cannot replace exams in testing accuracy and factual knowledge. That's why the opposition believe that both forms of assessment must work together, not one replacing the other. Let's now look at the issue from a social perspective. Project-based assessment often require resource, internet access, material printing, or even tool for presentation. Students from privileged family can afford better quality projects. While students from lower income background may not have the same access, even if they are just as intelligent. This creates a serious inequality problem. Traditional exams, on the other hand, provide an equal platform for everyone. Every student faces the same question, time, and condition. Grades are based on knowledge and effort, not a presence or financial background. So replacing exam with project could make the education system more unequal, not fair. Now let me respond to some possible argument from the proposition. First, they might may say that exam cause stress. Yes, that's true. Exam can be stressful, but stress itself is part of learning how to face challenge. In the real world, we will face deadline, interview, and time pressure. Exam help students develop mental strength and time management skills. Instead of removing exam, school should teach students how to handle stress, not avoid it. Second, they might argue that project encourage creativity and teamwork. We agree, but that's not the whole picture. Not all teamwork is fair. In many cases, some students work harder than others, but everyone gets the same score. This makes the grading process unfair and unbalanced. Education should measure individual understanding and accountability with exams to much better. If project-based assessment alone were enough, the top institution would have removed exams long ago, but they haven't because exams ensure academic integrity and individual performance. So even in modern education system, traditional exams remain a key component of fair assessment. In conclusion, educational should aim for both fairness and creativity, not sacrifice one for the other. Traditional exams are not perfect, but they are still the most objective and equal method to measure individual understanding. If we remove them completely, we will lose fairness, accuracy, and balance in our education system. Therefore, as the opening opposition, I, Ananda Ramadhani, firmly stand that traditional exams must not be replaced by project-based assessment, but should causes to create a fair and holistic education system. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Judge and respect member of the House. My name is Lisma Guba. As the closing government, we firmly believe that replacing traditional exam with project-based assessment is not merely a change in testing method, but a fundamental transformation of what education means and values. While the opening government uh, traditional exam operate under the illusion that intelligence can be measured through speed, memory, and test taking strategy. They often reward short-term recall rather than deep understanding, and they fail to access crucial human capacities such as collaboration, adaptability, and problem-solving. Project-based assessment on the other hand, affiliate learning as a living process, requiring students to research, analyze, create, and reflect. This mirrors the way knowledge function in the real world, where understanding is proved through application, not repetition. Beyond improving academic outcome, project-based assessment cultivate holistic human development. They teach students to take ownership of their learning, manage time, work in teams, and present ideas effectively. Skills that are far more aligned with the realities of higher education of the modern workforce. A 2024 UNESCO report found that students engaged in project-based learning show a 38% increase in problem-solving ability and greater intrinsic motivation compared to peers and exam-heavy system. Meanwhile, teachers report higher engagement and more meaningful evaluation of student growth. Furthermore, a reform creates a more equitable education system. Traditional exams often privilege those with access to tutoring or strong test-taking environment, reinforcing socioeconomic inequality, consistency, creativity, and perseverance, values that are inclusive and reflective of the real-world success. They allow students with diverse strengths, visual, analytical, interpersonal, or creative to demonstrate understanding in ways that standardized exam could never accommodate. From a philosophical standpoint, this shift also reclaims the moral purpose of education. Learning should not be about surviving an exam, but about engaging with ideas, solving problems, and contributing meaningful to society. Project-based assessment turn classroom into laboratories of thought where curiosity and experimentation replace anxiety and competition. This nurture lifelong learners, individuals who see education not as a finish line but as an evolving journey of discovery. In conclusion, as the closing government, we assert that replacing traditional exam with project-based assessment is not merely an educational improvement, it's an educational evolution. It help what we measure, how we learn, and why are we teach. Where are the opening government? And that how relevant learning. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges, as the closing opposition member, I am here to extend our case by showing that replacing traditional exam with a project-based assessment will actually harm fairness, educational consistency, and long-term skill development. We agree that education system need reform, but the solution is not to eliminate exams, it's to integrate both method wisely. Before I bring our extension, let's clarify the debate because this is not question is whether they should completely replace exam, and our position is clearly say no, because exam and project serve different purpose. Exam measure knowledge and analytic rigor, while project measure application and creativity. Replacing one with the another remove balance and create new problems. Let me bring our three main extension points that show why this replacement should be counterproductive. The first one is the equality problem. Project-based assessment depends heavily on external resource, access on technology, guidance, materials, and time. Students from wealthy or well-supported families can easily produce high-quality projects. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds will struggle because they have less intelligence because they have the lack of research. Traditional exam, on the other hand, provide a controlled and equal setting for every student. The second one is exams are not perfect. Exams are not perfect because they are standardized and comparable. Project-based assessment are far more subjective. Teacher might grade based on effort, presentation, or even personal impression, which can diminish the student's academic performance. That means results are no longer reliable. Education becomes inconsistent and the opposite of what a national assessment system should achieve. In real life, students will face time pressure, deadlines, and individual accountability, from university exams to job assessment and professional qualification. If schools completely remove exams, we deprive we deprive the students to have the chance to build focus, discipline, and quick problem solving. Skills that are essentials in the real world perform setting. So ironically, the government's plan produce creativity students who crumble under pressure. So in the motion, passes education become fragmented and inconsistent. Students from poor backgrounds are left behind, and assessment close credibly in university and employers' eyes. The conclusion is a good education system must balance creativity and consistency, freedom and fairness. Project-based assessments are valuable, but they cannot replace the role of exam in ensuring equity and accountability. Therefore, we on closing opposition firmly stand against the motion this House would not replace traditional exam with project-based assessment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nadia Nur Alifah, and as the closing government, I strongly stand by the motion that this House would replace traditional exam with project-based assessment. Traditional exams have long been seen as the main way to measure academic success, yet in reality, they fail to capture the true potential and abilities of students. Exam only test how well students can memorize and reproduce information with a short period of time rather than how deeply they can understand, analyze, and apply that knowledge. As a result, education becomes a race for grade rather than a journey of learning. Many students feel pressured, anxious, and demotivated because of exams that don't truly reflect their skill or creativity. In contrast, project-based assessment offer a more meaningful and realistic approach to education. They encourage students to think critically, work collaboratively, and solve real-world problems. Through project, students not only demonstrate what they know, but also how they can use that knowledge to create something valuable. This form of assessment value process over perfection, meaning that students are appreciated for their effort, improvement, and innovation through the project, not just for what they can recall in a few hours of exam time. Further, Furthermore, project-based assessment prepares students for future challenges in the modern world. In workplace and communities, success is rarely based on how fast someone can memorize facts, but rather on how well they can communicate, cooperate, and think creatively. Project mirror this real-life experience by requiring research, planning, teamwork, and present, presentation, all of which develop essential life skills that traditional exams simply cannot measure. This method also promotes fairness since every student gets the opportunity to show their strength in different ways, not limited by test anxiety or rigid exam structure. Therefore, we as the closing government firmly believe that replacing traditional exam with project-based assessment will create a more engaging, inclusive, and future-oriented education system. It will transform school into space that value creativity over memorization, understanding over repetition, and growth over pressure. With this change, we are not just reforming how students are evaluated, we are redefining what it means to truly learn and success. Thank you.